In film history, there has been plenty of cameos, and memorable ones at that. However, there is one that is so weird and so strange it puzzled people for many years, and still somewhat today, and that is David Bowie's cameo in TwinPeaks' Fire Walk With Me.
Cooper, meet the long-lost Philip Jeffries. You may have heard of him from the Academy.
Now, to me, David Bowie is possibly one of the only complete artists. He did singing, of course, he did acting, he did fashion, he painted, and many more things. And because of being in these things and being good at them, he would venture into most of them changing and inspiring the fashion industry, of course being famous for his music, career, inspiring tons of people in different genres. And the one thing I want to focus on is his acting. Now, it's kind of fuzzy how he got cast in this movie, as Bowie didn't really seem to talk about it at all. It seems because of a joke Bowie was cast in the film, and did seem to be a fan of David Lynch, and that's how they became acquainted, possibly, but can't say for sure. Now, what is TwinPeaks' Fire Walk With Me?
She's my mother's sister's girl.
TwinPeaks is a show from the early 90s that essentially changed TV forever. It follows Dale Cooper, an FBI agent who is investigating the murder of a high schooler, Laura Palmer, in a small town. Now, the show was known for its surrealist nature thanks to David Lynch, a filmmaker known for his really experimental style and also surreal filmmaking, alongside writer Mark Frost, who I'll just mention here as he wasn't involved in the movie at all. The show ended, and then Lynch decided to write a prequel film following the 7 days before the girl, Laura Palmer, was murdered. Now, onto the scene. The film is very strange and much stranger than the actual TV show, but the scene is strange in multiple ways. The fact that there's two versions of it doesn't help, and the first version is nearly incomprehensible without multiple viewings, and the last one makes much more sense. I'll go over the second version, however, as I think it has more footage of Bowie. We see Dale Cooper look at the security camera, then move out the way, while Bowie walks behind him, and Cooper's face is frozen under the security feed, and then Bowie enters. He says,
"Well, now, I'm not going to talk about Judy. In fact, we're not going to talk about Judy at all, Gordon."
In the original scene, you can literally barely tell what's going on due to the image being superimposed over another image of something that doesn't make sense or is not really important for this video. However, in the second version, the scene is also strange as we have no idea in the story at all who Judy is. And it's the next line that really confused audiences.
"Who do you think that is there?"
Suffered some bumps in the old noggin, eh, Phil?
He continues speaking and then says this very famous line.
"It's a dream. We live inside a dream."
And then eventually realises he is in the future in 1989 instead of 1987 where he just was, and is transported back to the past.
¡Ayúdeme! ¡Ayúdeme!
Now, the cameo is strange as even when you do have context, at least at the time you had no idea what was going on. And for actual context, you'd have to wait 25 years for the scene to even make somewhat sense. And that's definitely the point, as it's a very unsettling, almost disturbing scene, and was lambasted at the time for its strangeness and the fact it seemed to distract from the plot, as despite not being in the best place at the time, Bowie was still a large pop culture figure, who seemed to be almost too big for the cast, as at the time, while huge, none of the cast were as famous as Bowie himself, which many found distracting and criticised the decision. One of the most famous quotes being, "It's not the worst film ever made, it just seems to be," end quote. The film also had some weird roles, like Chris Isaak, another musician who disappeared in the film, and Kiefer Sutherland, who seems almost wasted considering their talents, according to many critics. Bowie was going to return to the show, which would happen 25 years later. However, due to his death, and the fact he hated his Louisiana accent, which was criticised at the time, he could not appear in the series. And Bowie would then go on to have a great acclaimed cameos in other works, such as Extras, and of course the most famous being Zoolander.
Nobody has any objections. I believe I might be of service.
The film has since gone on to be loved, however, the Bowie cameo remains ever strange and enigmatic, mostly due to its weirdness and importance to the plot.